I want you to imagine a scenario for a second. You've just walked through your front door after a really grueling, just endless day.
Oh, we all know that feeling.
Right. Your shoulders are practically touching your ears from all the stress.
Yeah, totally tight.
But instead of facing, a mountain of laundry and a chaotic inbox that is somehow multiplying by the minute, someone is actually there waiting for you.
That sounds amazing already.
They hand you a perfectly chilled glass of rosé. They tell you to go sit on the couch while they massage your neck, feed you French fries, and casually mention that they've already taken out the trash.
Wow.
And, oh, by the way, you look absolutely stunning today. Sounds pretty good, doesn't it?
I mean, it sounds like a parallel universe for most of us.
Seriously.
It's just the luxury of existing, even for an hour, without a colossal to-do list hovering over your head like a dark cloud.
Well, that parallel universe is exactly what we are exploring in today's deep dive.
I'm so excited for this one.
Same here. We have a really fascinating stack of excerpts today from a book called The Manservant Guide to Modern Chivalry by Dalal Khajah and Josephine.
It's such an interesting read.
It really is. And our mission today is to figure out how a viral internet joke completely spiraled into this real-life social experiment. We're going to look at how this text attempts to redefine traditional gender roles and, completely overhaul the medieval concept of chivalry.
Yeah, bringing it kicking and screaming into the modern era.
Exactly. Okay, let's unpack this. Because the origin story of this entire movement is completely wild.
And it really is. I mean, the origin story is a perfect example of accidentally stumbling onto a cultural nerve.
Yeah.
Because the authors originally had no intention of starting a sociological movement, or even a business for that matter.
Not at all. We have to rewind to the year 2014 for this.
Right, which, to give you some context on the cultural landscape, the book points out this was the exact year the word selfie was officially added to the dictionary.
Which is just crazy to think about.
It is. So the authors made a promotional video purely as a satirical joke. They titled it, "What Women Really Want."
And it featured these ridiculously dapper, really handsome men catering to women's every whim.
But crucially, these whims were entirely non-sexual.
Right. They were doing things like holding a woman's purse while she shopped.
Or serving her hors d'oeuvre.
Or just listening to her vent without interrupting.
Which is huge.
Yeah. And the video just went absolutely nuclear online.
It really did.
The authors describe how it went so viral, with thousands of women literally begging for the service, that they actually had to quit their day jobs.
They basically had to build the company because the internet demanded it.
Right. By fielding all these very real requests for a service they initially just made up, they inadvertently built something much bigger than, like, a novelty party company.
Yeah, the authors point out that they accidentally compiled the world's largest database of women's non-sexual fantasies.
I laughed out loud when the authors joked that they rival Google and the NSA for data collection.
Right, just with a much cooler, more glamorous vibe.
Exactly. But looking closely at the source material, when they started analyzing the data, when they looked at what their clients were actually asking these hired manservants to do, it revealed a rather bleak core problem.
It really did. Because the underlying theme of the data wasn't extravagance at all.
No.
It was sheer exhaustion. The text makes a really compelling case that women are fundamentally exhausted.
They really are. They're out there navigating their careers, running households, and carrying this massive, heavy mental and physical load of everyday life.
So what the data showed they were craving, above all else, wasn't a magic trick or, a striptease.
No.
They were craving reciprocity. They wanted a teammate who could just take the wheel for a minute.
And the book uses these great historical and cultural pairings to illustrate the kind of support they were looking for.
Yeah, like they wanted the Mark Antony to their Cleopatra.
Or the Baroque to their Michelle.
The Jean-Paul Sartre to their Simone de Beauvoir.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. They were looking for someone who acts as a true value add to their life. But, prior to this company existing, if a group of women wanted to celebrate a birthday or a bachelorette party, the entertainment options were remarkably grim.
Oh, totally. The standard options were entirely dictated by what men assumed women wanted.
Which usually meant a male stripper dressed as a firefighter.
Right. It was essentially hand-me-down fantasies for men.
Yes, that's exactly it. It's like women have been forced to wear someone else's prescription glasses for decades.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
The culture kept telling them this is what a wild night of freedom and celebration looks like, but they were looking through these blurry, just headache-inducing lenses.
Yeah.
And manservants finally came along, took the glasses off, and asked, wait, what do you actually want to look at?
And taking off those prescription glasses forced the founders to confront a massive realization.
Which was?
Well, if they were going to give women what the data said they actually wanted, they couldn't rely on the old rules of romance.
Oh, right.
Or the traditional codes of how a quote-unquote gentleman should behave.
Mm-mm.
Those outdated codes were part of the problem.
Right.
They realized they had to completely rewrite the code of chivalry from the ground up.
And I have to admit, when I first read the section on rewriting chivalry, I felt a bit defensive.
Really?
Yeah, because I always thought chivalry was just a nice thing, like holding a door open or paying
Yeah.
for a meal. Why does it need a rewrite?
Well, the authors deconstruct that exact sentiment. They pull no punches when examining the historical roots of old chivalry.
They really go for it.
They do. The source text argues that old chivalry is essentially a medieval ideal written by old cisgender white men.
Literally knights.
Yes, knights who, as the authors wryly note, had the gall to write the rules of romance without consulting a single dame.
They literally sat in a room and decided what women needed without asking any women.
Exactly. And according to the text, this old version of chivalry was never actually about mutual respect.
No.
It was about power. It was a framework for controlling and subjugating women under the guise of protection.
The authors argue that it supported very superficial gender roles,
Right, and it encouraged these grand, performative physical gestures.
which ultimately benefited a patriarchal system while fueling toxic masculinity,
It's the difference between a guy throwing his expensive coat over a mud puddle for you to walk on.
which is a very grand, cinematic physical gesture.
Right, versus a guy actually noticing that you're stressed, asking you how your day was, and quietly doing the dishes while you talk.
Wow. Yeah. That is a huge difference.
What's fascinating here is how the text completely divorces chivalry from the concept of a transaction.
Right.
Old chivalry often felt like a debt being accrued. The underlying subtext was basically, I opened this door for you, I paid for this meal, I fought off this dragon, therefore you owe me your affection, your time, or your body.
Yeah.
The author's definition of modern chivalry abandons that entirely. They view it not as a debt to be repaid, but as a freely given act of mutual support.
And they define modern chivalry so enthusiastically as a true collaboration between genders.
Yes.
It requires mutual respect, it supports gender equality, and it heavily prioritizes emotional intelligence over those grand, empty physical gestures.
Exactly. The goal is to benefit an inclusive society, rather than just one group holding on to power.
And to operationalize this new form of chivalry, to actually put it into practice in a way you can hire for a party, the founders created two distinct avatars that act out this new dynamic.
Right. And the first is the manservant.
Now, the word manservant initially threw me a bit.
How so?
I just thought, wait, aren't we just swapping the patriarchy for a matriarchy? Isn't hiring someone and calling them a servant just creating a new, equally weird power dynamic?
Oh, I see what you mean.
But the book dives into the history, noting the term dates all the way back to the 14th century.
Right. Queen Victoria famously had a manservant named John Brown.
Exactly. But this modern version, the one designed for today's woman without the powdered wig, isn't about subjugation at all.
No, it's about a highly specific skill set.
Right.
The text outlines 6 very specific attributes that define the modern manservant.
Let's hear them.
To step into this role,
Yeah.
a person must possess emotional intelligence, charm, wit, feminism, showmanship,
Yeah.
and they have to be easy on the eyes.
Well, obviously. But let's unpack the emotional intelligence part, because it's not just a buzzword here.
Not at all.
The authors describe it as the ability to walk into a chaotic room, read the energy, and anticipate needs before they are even spoken.
Yeah.
It's noticing the one woman at the party who feels left out and seamlessly engaging her in conversation.
Or realizing the guest of honor is overwhelmed and just quietly handing her a glass of water.
Exactly. And that ties directly into the feminism and showmanship requirements.
Yes. The text makes it clear that a manservant isn't a passive butler standing in the corner.
Right.
They are active participants in elevating the atmosphere, but they do it through a lens of deep respect for the women present.
And the counterpart to this highly attuned manservant is the lady of leisure.
Ah, yes. The Lady of Leisure is a vibe I think everyone listening can aspire to.
I know I do. The text traces this concept back through history as well, calling it an ancient rite.
Yeah, they mention Cleopatra's posse relaxing in draped tents along the Nile.
Or noble women sipping high tea, blissfully ignoring the complex, heavy responsibilities of the royal court.
The authors define the modern Lady of Leisure by one core tenet: The luxury of doing absolutely nothing without a single ounce of guilt.
And that guilt-free element is really the mechanism that makes it work.
Totally.
It's the ability to look at a crying toddler, a messy kitchen, or a phone buzzing with work emergencies, and for a designated period of time decree that it is someone else's problem.
It's so freeing.
It allows a person to just step outside and look at the moon, get a manicure, or, and this is a brilliant observation from the authors, finally answer their emails in total uninterrupted peace.
I mean, for a lot of people, just being able to clear their inbox without someone asking them what's for dinner is the ultimate fantasy.
It really is. Now, here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay. We have to emphasize a crucial point from the text because it is central to understanding their entire philosophy.
What's that?
These two avatars, the manservant and the lady of leisure, are purely performative roles.
Right.
They're absolutely not strict biological designations.
So this isn't a rigid rule where men can only be manservants and women can only be ladies of leisure.
Not at all. This is what the authors refer to as the Freaky Friday gender flip.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, the book explicitly states that masculine and feminine energies live within everyone, regardless of biological sex or gender identity.
They compare it to the ancient principles of yin and yang.
Exactly. Any fully rounded human has both a manservant and a lady of leisure residing inside them.
I love that concept. It's like switching apps on your phone depending on what task you need to accomplish.
That's a perfect analogy.
Sometimes you need the spreadsheet app and sometimes you need the meditation app.
Right. You might desperately need to tap into your inner lady of leisure on a Friday night after a brutal work week and just let someone else make the decisions. Yeah, but then on Sunday morning, you might step into the manservant role to make an intricate breakfast for your partner and serve them in bed.
It's entirely fluid. It is fundamentally about the exchange of service and reception, not biology.
It's about recognizing where your energy needs to go on any given day.
Right. But that raises a massive logistical question that I just kept thinking about while reading the source material.
Which is?
If you are hiring a stranger, a charming, witty, easy on the eyes stranger, to come into a bachelorette party or a birthday gathering and perform this devoted, highly attentive role,
Yeah.
how do you keep it from getting incredibly weird?
It's a fair question.
How do you actually practice this live-action role play safely without it crossing lines?
Well, the answer the founders arrived at was boundaries.
Yes.
Absolutely ironclad, non-negotiable boundaries.
The book calls it the no sleaze clause,
Right.
and it is the foundational tiller of their entire operation. They have a strict rule. Manservants serve cheese plates, not penises.
It's a great line.
It is. The service is strictly non-sexual. In fact, to demonstrate just how seriously they take these boundaries, the literal safe words used at their events are no, stop, and Maroon 5.
That is hilarious.
Isn't it?
But the humor is great, but the psychology behind why this no sleaze clause is the secret sauce to the whole experience is incredibly deep.
It really is.
The authors analyze why this boundary is necessary. In our modern society, women constantly have their guard up.
Absolutely. If you're listening to this, you probably know exactly what that invisible guard feels like.
Right. The text points out that women are perpetually held accountable for the dynamics in a room.
Always.
Whether it's the expectation to gently manage a man's bruised ego if she rejects his advances.
Or literally being judged for what she was wearing if a situation escalates.
Exactly. Women are constantly, exhaustingly vigilant to avoid situations that could result in the horrific societal headline of "she was asking for it."
So, when a manservant arrives at a party and the host explicitly states the rules to the room, that suggestive comments, wandering hands, and sexual pressure are completely off the table.
The mechanism of the party fundamentally shifts.
It does. The inhibition drops completely.
When the threat of sleaze or underlying sexual pressure is explicitly removed from the equation, women can finally relax their nervous systems.
They can be their true, unfiltered, sparkly selves.
Yeah. They can have a few drinks, loudly declare their love for their friends, and spill embarrassing confessions without the background anxiety of worrying if a man is misinterpreting their friendliness as an invitation.
Right. It creates a temporary space of total psychological safety.
And what I found truly surprising in the reading is how the authors document that this boundaried space dramatically benefits the men too.
Yes.
Which leads us to their brilliant and honestly revolutionary take on the friend zone.
Ah, the dreaded friend zone, the conceptual purgatory of modern dating.
Historically, it is treated as the ultimate punishment.
Yeah, the authors joke that the friend zone was an outdated penalty box invented by the suffering committee of blue balls.
Which is such a funny phrase.
It is. That committee being men who base the entire value of their interaction with a woman on whether or not it will eventually lead to sex.
Right, but the book argues that if you strip away that toxic expectation, the friend zone isn't a penalty box at all.
No.
It is actually the land of women, and it is a gold mine.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the psychology here proves why these rigid gender expectations hurt everyone.
Definitely.
When men stop viewing interactions with women purely as a transactional pathway to sex, and they willingly enter this boundaried, non-sexual space, this friend zone, they gain access to a profound level of connection.
The text literally lists out the benefits the men experience.
Yeah.
When they exist in this space of mutual respect, they learn how to dress better because they get honest feedback.
They get invaluable advice on how to improve their dating game outside the zone.
Right. They receive actual, judgment-free emotional support when they are struggling.
And they get a massive self-awareness check when they are acting out of line.
It's the exact same support system women have been cultivating with their girlfriends for centuries.
And the source material argues that this proves a larger point. True, non-transactional acts of service unlock genuine affection and trust faster than anything else.
Yeah. The book references comedian Chris Rock's stand-up special Tambourine.
Oh, right.
In it, he talks about relationships and says that you both have to be in the service industry. You are there to serve each other without keeping score.
The authors also bring in Gary Chapman's 5 love languages.
Yes, specifically highlighting that acts of service is a primary way many people feel loved and valued.
But they show what this looks like in practice at these events.
Right.
It's not just doing chores, it's a manservant noticing that the ice is running low and fetching more before anyone has to ask.
It's him taking a genuinely good group photo from 10 different angles without sighing or rolling his eyes.
Or delivering a thoughtful, encouraging toast to the birthday girl.
The text notes that when men perform these anticipatory acts of service, guests react as if he has just composed a masterpiece symphony.
Which raises an important question. Why is the reaction so overwhelmingly positive for things that seem relatively simple?
Well, the authors suggest it's because this kind of attentive, non-transactional care is exceedingly rare.
It really is. Giving energy without the expectation of a specific return, motivated purely by the desire to make the people around you happy, creates a profound psychological reaction.
It completely disarms people.
So, what does this all mean? We've taken a journey from a viral internet joke about a quirky bachelorette party service to deconstructing the medieval patriarchy to redefining the friend zone.
It's been a ride.
But what the authors really want you, the listener, to take away from this is that their book isn't just a manual for throwing a cheeky party.
No.
It's a manual for how we should all be demanding to live.
It acts as a framework for setting higher standards across the board.
It's about demanding those better standards in all your relationships. It's about embracing mutual respect over outdated, toxic chivalry.
Right.
And it's the realization that no one, regardless of their gender, should ever settle for mediocrity in how they are treated.
Yeah. It's about clearly asking for what you want and knowing unequivocally that you deserve the luxury of being cared for. Which leaves us with a really fascinating thought to ponder on your own.
Ooh, what's that?
The authors used this manservant state of mind to create a perfect, highly protected environment for a party.
Right?
But imagine if we applied this exact framework of boundaried, non-transactional service to our completely non-romantic everyday lives.
Wow.
Think about our workplaces, our community board meetings, even our politics.
I can only imagine how confusing that would be for some people at first.
It would be disruptive in the best way possible.
Yeah.
How quickly would the toxic power dynamics of our everyday world dissolve if everyone, regardless of their position on the corporate ladder or their gender, simply aimed to be in the service industry of making each other's lives just a little bit easier?
That's a great point.
What if the goal wasn't to accrue a debt or assert dominance, but just to anticipate a need in the room and fill it?
If everyone tapped into their inner manservant just a little bit more, the world might actually start to look like that alternate dimension we talked about at the very beginning.
100%.
A world where the to-do list shrinks, the stress melts, and you finally have a second to just sit back, breathe, and enjoy the rosé.
Sounds perfect.
We want to thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, take care of yourselves and maybe take care of each other too.